Okay, so that's the scheme we're going for. It's the standard REF early war scheme. So obviously we've got the sky underneath, then we've got the brown with the green on the top. Okay, so pretty straightforward, all of those ones. So we've got the actual colors down here. So usual way of doing it, I would say do the lightest color, working your way to the darkest, just because it makes it easier to overcoat. So actually what we're going to do now is come in with the brown, which is a bit scary now because we know this paint is a little bit well, finicky, shall we say. Okay, so I'm just going to do a very quick color change again on this one because I've left it in here, which I shouldn't have done. So as I say, airbrush cleaner, it does tend to like. Now I did mention in the last bit about obviously the different versions. The other one to try, which is what I'm going to try next, is to see if it makes any difference if we use actual Vallejo's own thinners. Okay, the way I'm thinking it is, this stuff looks like Vallejo, but obviously it's clearly not, because I thin with X28 with Vallejo pretty much on a daily basis and never had a problem with it anywhere. So what I'm going to do is just going to blow this out, another quick squirt through here. Okay, with all your airbrushing, the big thing is making sure you do this bit as well. Make sure you clean the needle, all right? Because far too often people forget that and they wonder why it's spitting. It's because it's caught up in the needle area. And sometimes you can make a massive difference when you're spraying, okay? So we're just going to blow that through. Okay, nice and clear, no problem. Okay, right. So what we're going to do now is try it with a little bit of the Vallejo thinners. Okay, so this is the one we're actually meaning, it's their new one. So this is number 361. So what we're going to do is roughly do what we did before. I'm just going to put a little bit in here and then blow it through. Happy with that? Okay. And then a bit of the back of the throat stuff is, okay. So we got, like we did last time, small amount of thinners in there. Okay, and then we're going to come up with our paint. Just going to put a drop in, just see what happens. See, we got that nice reaction again where it's bubbling up. Oh, well, you can see that. But I'm more happy to try this. So we're just going to put a little bit of paint in there like that. And then we're going to give it a good old mix just down in here. Something is very wrong there. Sorry, colour cut was loose on the top. Okay, good mix. I'm just looking at the paint to see what it's doing. You know, is it fizzing? Is it bubbling? Is it making, you know, thickening up and things like that? Okay, so we'll try a little bit down here. I'm going to try a blast into the vent. See, that seems quite good. Okay, we'll give it a whirl, see what happens on a part. So what I've got just out of shot is the actual instructions, okay? So having the instructions like this, we can actually turn around and say, right, okay, we don't need to do up around the cockpit, for instance, because that's all green. So we can actually pick out areas and roughly put them in where they are, okay? So let's have a go. So we know it sort of swoops down here. Okay, and then we know we've got that bit that sort of comes up here. So we're just going to backfill that area. It looks pretty wet. It's going down wetter than I would like, if I'm honest. Okay, I would like it to be slightly thicker in consistency. So to counter the fact it's going down wet, I'm just going to turn down my air pressure just a little bit. Okay, I've just knocked the air pressure back a bit so I can get closer, putting down the colour. Okay, so we just come into this edge, so it's going to blend naturally. So we're really popping in around about the sort of 45-degree mark. Now we know the here. Okay, so that's pretty good down there, and then we know it's then going to curve back on itself. All right, and it's going to come up somewhere around here because it's hidden by the roundel. Okay, again, it's very wet. I would like this to be thicker, but I've got a feeling that if I go thicker, it's actually not going to flow out of the actual airbrush. Okay, so we're going to try a bit in here. Okay, we'll give it a mix, see what we can do. It's looking thicker to me. Okay, so we're just trying to blow this through. Up in the air pressure because it's a bit thicker. Okay, into the new stuff. Now that's really wet on that wing. Too wet, in fact I don't like that at all, alright? So what we're going to do is going to come off somewhere else, alright? So what we're going to do is just going to do the other wing now. So generally we're going to put in this pattern, which sort of comes around here and then comes back up. Okay, then it does this sort of swirly pattern. Now, you know, you might be saying it's very high air pressure, that's the trouble you're having, but the thing is, if I turn my air pressure down, it doesn't spray. Okay, it's going to struggle to actually spray this stuff. Okay, so now we've got this one that goes from the light. Okay, and then it's going to come back, and then going to go back up. So again, we're just sort of coming in 45-degree angle on those fronts. Okay, and everything else. This side's drying down a little bit now. And then this bit's going to come around here and then going to go up. Alright, so we're just going to pop it around in that area like that. So I'm drying back, and then what we're going to do is then re-overcoat this area just down here. Okay, plenty of it. Alright, all around that area, then down the back here we can do this as well. Coming here nice and loose. Okay. Okay, so now we've got the wings done. What I'm going to do is dry them off. Okay, then we're going to mask up underneath to give us our hard edge. So we can mask up this front part just down in here and this side. Okay, but then what I can do is actually hold on to the wings as I'm doing it. So that's why I've done it as a separate. So I'm just going to recover these to give us a nice solid colour. Okay, and then we'll come back and do the other. Okay, I admit defeat. This paint, I don't know, I just drive you mad. What have I done over here? It loves to jam up your needle. It certainly loves to clog, spit, and make your life complete hell. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm going to have to wait and obviously get their thinners, and we'll have a play with that and see exactly if that makes any difference. But for the moment, let's get rid of them. So I could just do the usual way and just use Tamiya. Okay, their Dart Flat Earth is a great starting place and all the rest of it. It's a nice colour and go through it like that. But being a martyr, I thought we'd try another paint. Okay, so this one down here, we've got the Italeri version. Now, its federal standard is correct to this one. It's flat dark earth. I haven't used it before, and to be honest, it's been kicking around for ages. This stuff is extremely thick, okay? So trying to get it all to move is a little bit of a problem. Now, in our saving grace, we do have their thinners, all right, as well. So we have got an option. Now, I did try this a long time ago when it first came out, and as I said at the time, it was very reminiscent of the sort of model workshop type paints, the way it works and things like that. We just blow this out and get rid of that. Nice clean airbrush. Okay. Don't get me wrong, that stuff, at least it clears from your airbrush. Some of it, once it's in there, it's a nightmare. So this stuff here, we're going to have a go with their thinners purely because I'm running out of time and patience on this one. So this has got this sort of white milky type thinner. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start off with a 50-50-ish mix. Now this stuff, I don't know if you saw it go in there, it's like toothpaste. It is extremely thick, okay? So when you're mixing it as well, it's very lumpy and all the rest of it. But once it gets in the thinner and breaks down, you're away. And that's why I've said the Italeri paints, if you can get them to work, would be an absolute bargain. Okay, now this is, actually it doesn't look too bad. I thought it was going to be quite thick. I don't think it is. Okay, so let's have a go. Try and spray this. Okay, first reaction's quite good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm just going to do everywhere brown now, purely because then we can have a sort of a reset and a restart, and then what we'll do, we'll master green in. It's not like we've got pre-shading, we're losing it, all right? So what we're going to do, we're going to have a go with this. Now, if I'm honest, I prefer this brown to the one that's down here. You might see the difference in the colour there. This is what I would call a better brown. Okay, and certainly going on okay. A little bit spitty, but it is covering, but you can probably see the difference in the wing. I think this is a better starting place for a brown. I think this other one may be just a little bit too dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the entire thing. Okay. So we're just going to go everywhere that's going to be brown. Alright, so we're going to do round the back. Certainly from a smell point of view, it doesn't smell anywhere as bad as the last one. Okay. Because the last one particularly smelled pretty horrendous. Now we're just going to do that leading edge. So we're just cutting in there on the edge and down the front and things like that. Okay, so we're just going to go over the back, down the sides to this point where I can't hold it anymore. So I might be able to get hold of it underneath from the radiator, which we can. All right. So as you can see, we've masked up under here, so it's all protective. But what we're going to do another first on this one. Lots of firsts on this. Actually, I must admit, I am liking this paint. It goes down very well. It's not at all smelly. And it's giving actually a nice smooth finish. And if you're honest, I used hardly any paint in that. So it's done that entire model in one, all right? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to let this dry. We'll come back, have a look, see if we're happy with it. If we are, then we can push on with the next one, or it might need another coat. Okay, so back over here, as you can see, doesn't look too bad, and I have to say, if I'm honest, this stuff worked absolutely fine, no problem at all. I don't know about doing fine lines, detail modelling, and that might be a little bit heavy for that type of work, but literally I used hardly any paint. Most of it's thinners because it's very thick stuff, so from a price point of view, then this stuff's absolutely great. The trouble with it is, where the hell do you get it? I don't know. You can buy sets of it, but considering it's from a Tallery European company, you just can't find it in Europe. This stuff, very disappointed. I had to play with the green as well, and it worked exactly the same. As I said over in the spray booth, I think we need to get their thinners in and work with it. My whole point though is going to go in my paint pile of shame, is that technically paint should be straightforward, easy to use. If you're having to fight with your paint on top of controlling your airbrush, it's going to be an absolute no sort of brainer start to finish, isn't it? You're going to have loads of trouble all the way through. If you've got a paint that you basically, like Model Air, pop it in a paint cup, spray it, and away you go. It makes life a lot easier. Anyway, we're pretty happy of how we're going, okay? To be honest, the undercolour isn't too bad at all. This top one is a little bit dark. We can play with that. I've got some ideas for that one. What we're going to do though is try this stuff. Now, this stuff is Clever Putty. There is another manufacturer out there going out there, Panzer Putty, who make something extremely similar to this stuff. Now, this is like a science putty. The thing with it is, when you're using white worm masking, like we use this stuff, okay, which we've used for the last, for my case, 15 years, there's no problem at all. It's just that sometimes you could do with something with a little bit more refined, i.e. it doesn't always stick. Sometimes you can get marks left behind and stuff like that. So we're always looking for a new thing. Now, Panzer Putty came out with a very similar product to this one a few months ago, and it's designed for armour, doing camo work, so there's no reason why it won't work on aircraft. Now, being a complete cheapskate, as we are here at Flory Models, Steve, one of the team guys, came out and did a bit of homework on it and decided that actually there's a cheap alternative on the market, which is this stuff called Clever Putty, or I think they call it Science Putty. Now you can get it in different colours. This is the grey one. Getting out the tin is the hardest thing you can do, okay, because when it's new, it doesn't like to peel out, okay? Once you get a corner of it out, it does come out in one. And so this has been in here a while. Now this stuff, as you can see, will mould and conform to basically any shape, all right? Now the thing with it is that if you pull it very slowly, you see it stretches and does all its bits and pieces. If you pull it quick, it snaps, okay? Now this stuff as well, if I do a little shape here, just something a bit weird, and you pop it here, you'll notice it will start to sag. And if you left this and then came out, it looked like a pool and be all flat. Now this stuff itself is a bit like your normal white tack. When you warm it up and you sort of, you can bend it and manipulate it. And also the thing is, when you pull it slowly, if you notice, it doesn't get thinner. And now it's going to sag. And it will go and it will continue to sag down. Probably better on this angle. And you'll see it will go down until it will stretch and touch. It's got a very fine finesse to it, okay, and then you can just twiddle it all back up and it will generally melt back into itself with ease very quickly. So we're thinking, sounds pretty good stuff, right? So we've got the old instructions, wherever they are, here they are. of how we want to do this. So what we're going to do is going to have a go on one wing just to see how it actually fares, okay, and how well it is. Now, to be honest, I would have liked to given this a little bit more time to dry, but I'm against the gun on this one because you guys are going to get this before I go on holiday, which is in 2 days time. Okay, so, well, less than that now, sort of a day and a bit's time. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put this down and we're going to see how well it works on this particular wing. So that's just pick an area. So I'm going to roll this out. As I said, you could just pull it, but we're going to do it. So we're just going to pick an area. So obviously you're masking the brown. So down on here, obviously all of this is going to be covered in the putty, okay? So the idea is, okay, we're just going to come in and we're going to, I think we're going to make this a bit thinner, okay? I'm going to cut it. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to try and follow some of what's down here already, okay? And we want to know how well it sticks to the model, how well it actually works with the actual paintwork, if it affects the paintwork, because obviously it's no good to us if it's going to suddenly, you know, affect and ruin your paintwork and all the rest of it. Okay, so we're just going to go around like that. Okay, and we've placed it on. All right, so I'm just going to wrap it around the leading edge. Now we know this will go flat and level out, which in some ways isn't a bad thing because it should give us a very nice sort of camo pattern. So we're going to just do this inside one as well. So we're just going to stick it down and begin to push it. It's not wanting to stick to the surface, but then nor does many other things if we're honest. Okay. And it is actually very sticky. It's sticking to my fingers underside, okay? So once you've got it in, like we said with all our ones, what we tend to do is come in with a little stick. I'll just put this in front of the camera so you can see it. See, it's gripping my finger. And then what we'll actually do is manipulate it and poke it and bend it so we get all the different areas, and that's not very good. Okay, so we're just gonna lightly roll it round to give us some shapes, push some areas, pull others, and then what we're hoping is it's going to do, although it sticks to yourself, it sticks to your hand quite a bit. Okay, so we're just going to pop it down and we're just going to give it a nudge as we make our way around. You might notice it's actually glistening from my fingerprint. Okay, so this is on now, so now we're just going to pop some of this in just like that. Okay, like you might see this stuff, it's so I'm hoping it's not going to do it to your wing, because obviously you don't want to go on your wing and then just like glue all off everywhere. So if you pull it slowly it will stretch, if you pull it quickly it will snap. Okay, so next up we're going to go around this light system. Okay, so we're just going to place it down on the light, then it sort of bends round a bit. Okay, then it's going to come back up via the gun areas. Okay, then it's going to come right over the guns themselves and then stick. Okay, we're going to do just the same again, just to nudge this down, just to hold it into position and to sort of level it out a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one wing and then we're going to go over, but you can see how this is getting shiny. It's because it's leveling out, it's actually sticking down. Weird stuff. Okay, so I might need a bit more from the turd pile. Oh, we've got some here as well. Okay, all right, so now we've got to do this back area to sort of pull in all the green together. So far, I must admit, I'm quite impressed. Okay, also it doesn't have that residue in your hands. Okay, so making it a bit thinner. All right, so brown's at the outside. Okay, running down, a little bit of a kink outwards, rolls back in on itself. Okay, then down. It grips to itself, absolutely lovely, it loves to do that. Okay, so that's that one on. So again, we're just gonna
push this down, manipulate it a little bit if we want to, so perhaps we'll push this around a bit here, drag it backwards, push it all in, and then to be honest I think we just want to move that back just a little bit, just like that. Okay, so then this is what we're trying to recreate down here, you see. Alright, so I'm just looking around at it, seeing what you want to change. Now obviously you're not going to make it as sharp and refined on this, but it's something you can do afterwards, which I'll show you. Okay, so the only thing is I think I just want to manoeuvre this bit just over here a little bit, so I'm just going to pull it back, and then we're just going to push this in just a fraction. Okay. Okay, just manoeuvring it all around. And you might notice this down here is going really soft now. I'm just hoping it's not melting into my paintbook. Alright. Okay, so that's those bits done like that. Alright. So there's no problem there. So it's a case of, right, okay, I'm going to do this nose one as well because there's not much to it. So we can use it as a whole plate, I think, over here. Alright, so on the nose section itself, it sort of bumps in halfway up. Okay, and then it's just going to curl around and down underneath. So again, we're just going to roll him into position, just pushing out the front. Okay, perhaps a little bit around here. You can actually iron this out, I suppose. Okay, take it round. Okay, quite happy with how that is. Alright. Then we can use a slightly longer piece. I'm thinking to bring us right the way across. Okay, so if we just take it from down this front section just down here. Okay, then it's going to roll over the nose. Okay, rolls over the nose, and then it sort of goes back over there. The big tip to this, don't let it stick to itself, because if it sticks to itself, it really grips very heavily. Okay. Like here, it's actually got hold of itself, so it's probably better to try and cut it. Okay. So we'll just cut that out the way. Okay, then again we're just going to roll this on into position. Okay, we know the green is going to push quite heavily up into there. Okay, this we need it to be a little bit more of a rounded area. Okay, and just down on here. Okay, we don't want a too feathered thing on this, so we're just going to let it go off. Then the idea is, I'm hoping what's going to happen is if you let this go down, it's all going to sink and sort of self-level itself out, hopefully. Okay, so that's that nose one done on there, just like that. Okay, yeah, pretty happy with all of that one. Right, okay. So then the last one, we can probably do it for this size of it anyway, is to bring this one coming right the way across. Okay, this diagonal coming across. Might need a bit more, so let's grab a bit more from our melting pile. All right. So we're just gonna level this out. It's one of those things, when you start to use it, it's a little bit odd because it doesn't feel natural, but actually once it's on here, it sticks and it's welded on. I'm just hoping it comes off. Okay, so on the other side, we are like this. Okay, and then it's the brown. Don't stick. Oh no, see, that's our trouble. Don't stick to anything else. As soon as it touches something else, it bites. Luckily that's under the area. Alright, so this guy is going to come up, comes up here, it's going to wrap right in front of the area. I'm going to have to break this off. This is all going to be right. Maybe it might be better to do it in sections, if I'm honest. Okay, so this one comes up here, it's going to bend around, it's going to push out slightly. You can bring it up, then it comes around. If you notice, you can almost sculpt this stuff, which is actually quite a handy little thing. Okay, sculpting it round and down. So you have to redo this bit now. I want this to be a okay, something else around like that. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to do this corner and then that's it, okay? Then we're going to over in the spray booth, put the green on, dry it down, get it off and see exactly what we've got, okay? So this is the last bit just going on here, so just bear with me as I put this section in. Okay, so this is going to come round about down here and then literally just drops. Down like that. Okay, again we'll just do some interesting sculpting bits. Just to nudge it all around. Okay, really happy how that is. Right, I'm going to infill this and I'll meet you over at the spray booth and we'll give it a go. Okay, so I've been experimenting with this and to be honest, I've had a couple of nightmares. Normally, if it touches itself, it sticks, you can't get it off, all right? So I've actually redone this entire wing and I think I found a bit of a quicker way to do this, all right? All you do, roughly mold it to the shape you want, okay? So, you know, this I think it's a little bit big, but you'll get the gist of it, all right? Then we're gonna come in, chuck it in, all right? And then take it to the area you want. Okay, cut off the excess with a pair of scissors, just because it's easier than trying to pull it apart, because it tends to go everywhere, all right? Okay, let it sit there just for a minute and start to bite and do all its, the bit, okay? Now, I've got to work out where this one is, so it's to there, so yeah, it's going to come right over. And then physically grab hold of this stuff and begin to actually mold it, all right? And you can push it exactly where you roughly want it, so yeah, it's actually not too far out, okay? Then you can come in with some tools and just pull it around to give it some more definition, okay? And then let it, and it will all sink down there, okay? So this bit, I think, just want to, it's going to have a round all right over this, but we're just trying to blend it in now and push it round, okay? And I think that's an easier and quicker way to do it, okay? And you can actually just pull and pinch and maneuver this stuff around, and it does stick in there very well, and it saves that thing of doing the worm and then trying to infill, because to be honest, the first time I infilled it, I infilled the brown, the green instead of the brown, so I had to redo it. Secondly, I put it on, then I put this long one over here and caught it, and then I had to pull it off and all the rest of it. But there we go, let's get some paint on this and just see what happens.